What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast. My name is Alfredo, and this is episode 196. Cristiano, we're almost at 200. What's going on, my brother?
We're going to have a big party for 200, correct? Peggy better come on, Marco, all the celebrities, all the big superstars before I arrived better be back on that pod. 200th pod.
I'm gonna send out an email for a save the date.
You should. You absolutely should. I mean, it's
right?
number 200. When you first started this out, you thought you'd be lucky to get 3 or 4 out. You're down to 200 almost.
Yeah,
Think about that.
200. I think that warrants a call out from work.
That's like an international call up right there. I don't care what you're doing. Take off of work. You're busy. You better make it.
That's like watching the World Cup at 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, it's not.
3 o'clock?
Don't remind me of that because the only memory I have of that watching the World Cup at 5 o'clock in the morning is getting up and before I got the Ramela out of my eyes, Portugal's down 2-0 in USA. So I mean don't remind me of that. I don't want to talk about that World Cup.
So I gotta be honest with you, Cristiano. Before we introduce our special guest, I gotta tell you, a weekend without Benfica playing really, really sucks.
It does suck, and in particular, when there's nothing else going on. I mean, this weekend. Kind of wake up, nothing to watch. I mean, you had college basketball, which I'm a big fan of, but that was in the middle of the afternoon. Absolutely nothing to do. Nothing. I mean, it was boring. It was boring. It was great to cut my grass, though. So,
so without further ado, since we don't have Benfica, we decided to bring on a special guest. You probably know her from Twitter. And other social media outlets. It's
in RTP and Seek. Yeah, she's a celebrity.
She is a celebrity. Aside from Patrick Kendrick, I think this is the biggest celebrity we've ever had on the show.
Wait. I don't count. You just go put Patrick ahead of him? Yeah, I quit. I'm quitting after the show.
Anyway, without further ado, Emma from Twitter. And obviously you guys have seen Emma on Record, on RTP, on several pictures. She's followed Benfica quite a bit. Emma, how are you? And we're pleased to have you today.
Thank you so much, Peggy. Alfredo, I'm sorry.
She called me Peggy.
Peggy?
I don't know what happened.
Wow. Emma, what's running through your mind right now?
At least your mind is in the right place.
Yeah, probably. I'm sorry. And also thanks, Cristiano, having me on the podcast. I'm a little bit nervous currently. Hello, everyone. This is Emma, and never thought I would be here and talk to you guys in English. As I mentioned, I'm born and raised Chinese and coming to US for around 3 years. So hopefully today everything goes fine. I started to make mistakes when I started to talk, so hopefully.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Emma, just a quick question. You've already said that you were born in China, and now you currently live in the U.S., correct?
Yeah, it's just a similar Chinese people at my age. I came to US for my master degree study, and after I finished it, I just started to work, which is around 1 or 2 years ago.
Nice.
So currently I live in the Bay Area. I majored in computer science, so other people in Bay Area working in this industry. So
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's
sort of like that.
Yeah, but that's cool. At least most people graduate with some type of major and they don't even work in what they majored in. So congrats on your part. And again, don't be nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. We're very happy to have you on with us. We're going to just ask you a couple of questions about your trip to Portugal. I mean, most of the people listening right now to the podcast are very aware that you made the trip out to Portugal to see Benfica for the derby against Sporting at Alvalade, and also the Alvalade game at Estádio da Luz. And so we'll just ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah. Just a little bit about yourself. You were born in China, as you said. Did you play any sports as a kid? Was soccer one of the sports you played as a kid?
I don't think I personally is good at any sports, but I did watch a lot when I was in the middle school. I started to watch soccer at around 2002. Of course, it's because of the World Cup. At that time, China made into the World Cup finals for the first time, and basically the whole country, the whole nation is watching. And after that, I started to follow the new season. And at that time, the first team I started to follow is AC Milan, and they did pretty well that season. I think they won the Champions League that year.
Yeah.
Of course, like Rui Costa
AC
at that
Milan.
time.
Yeah, AC Milan when Rui Costa was. So you mentioned Rui Costa, and for those of you that know you, there's a connection. Actually, your first love was for Rui Costa, but then there's the Benfica connection. How and when did you first hear about Benfica?
I don't really notice because although at that time the Portugal's league was not broadcasted in China, but the sports news basically when they will cover all the matches and in Europe. So Benfica is kind of familiar probably at that time. And I think the first time I started to know that notice the team probably is the death of Mickey Vecchio when he passed away. It's just a shock to everyone at that time. It's not like something, but yeah, and I started to sort of follow Benfica's news when Rui Costa returned to Portugal. But at that time already in my like university or something, so I didn't got much time to watch. It's until within 2 or 3 years that I start to watch more games and got a chance to like watch how Benfica played, and that's why everything started, I would say.
Emma, see, that's something you and I have in common. Rui Costa was my favorite player growing up. I tried to emulate the guy out on the field. I tried to wear my shin guards, my socks, my hair. Yes, when I had hair back in the days, guys. I try to do everything like Rui Costa. So we have something in common there.
Yeah, I heard you shared some of your story about how you followed Rui Costa, like back in 1994 at that time.
Yeah.
When he still played in Benfica.
Yeah, we followed him.
Oh yeah, I followed him. I mean, the first time I recall Rui Costa was Portuguese national team under when they won the Youth World Cup at Estádio da Luz. Yeah, Estádio da Luz, 132,000, I believe, against Brazil. And so I go back to that tournament. That's when I really fell in love with him. But sticking to the Benfica theme here, let's forget about Rui Costa for a second. You've been fortunate enough to travel around the world and watch Benfica. But what was your first trip ever to go and watch Benfica?
That's the trip I met you guys at the first time.
Okay, that was okay.
Trip to East Coast, and it's just last summer when Benfica came to North America.
I remember after the game, this was in Toronto. After the game, we're walking out of the stadium, and Emma,
I was lost at that time.
Emma was just like, I don't even remember if she was with somebody. She might have just been alone somewhere.
I don't recall that.
And I remember saying hello. Well, we all said
I don't recall. The first time I recall meeting her was at the
Red Bull
Arena. Yeah.
No, we met her in Toronto.
Yeah, I don't remember.
As we were walking, it was like a really dark area of the stadium as we were walking out of the stadium, and Emma's just there. And I remember us talking to Emma, and I think Steve was actually the one that recognized Emma from Twitter.
Probably.
And you and I and Steve were actually walking out, and we said hello to Emma, and then we saw her again at Red Bull.
Yeah, that's when I recall. I recall seeing her at Red Bull. So that was your first trip ever. What were your thoughts about the whole trip? You liked the way that they organized the trip? I mean, did you get to go to Hartford as well?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
That's actually the place I met the team at the hotel, because at the first time I don't think I just talked a little bit to Rui Costa and didn't met the whole team.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 3 matches, it's all been very great experience.
Explain to us that aren't fortunate enough to go ahead and travel and follow this team across the world, let alone the country here in the United States. But how does someone out on the West Coast put a trip together like this to go out to Portugal, even to come out here to the United States? I mean, do you go to a broker? How do you organize this?
For the 3 friendly in North American, I think I booked the tickets in May, just a couple of weeks after we won last championship. And they just announced that Benfica will replace Porto and came to North America. And I didn't thought too much. And at that time, I was just being very excited that they're coming. And it's just always in US, so traveling is comparatively easier for me. So I just booked the ticket, booked the flight and hotels, and that's it.
Yeah. So the planning, obviously, besides booking the ticket, I'm assuming that the planning took quite a bit. Obviously, the logistics of it, booking hotels near where the team was playing and figuring out. Did you have any friends when you play? I mean, did you have any friends here in this area when you planned out this trip? Somebody that could have helped you out, given some tips.
And that's actually true. When I went to Toronto, like I have like her high school classmates. She's currently living there, so basically I also met her, and then she helped me quite a bit when I was in Toronto. It's kind of similar thing in Portugal. Like I also have like a Chinese friend. We actually met on a Chinese soccer forum because of Benfica.
Oh wow!
And we talked about a little bit during the past 1 year because he was like having his master's study in Lisbon currently.
Mhm.
So he got a lot of chance watching Benfica game live, which I'm super jealous. And during the past year, we basically talked a lot about Benfica and the life in Portugal a little bit. And also he helped me a lot about like getting Benfica stuff or this kind of things. Yeah, I finally got to meet him. It's also very nice. Big thanks to my friend Neil. I'm not sure if he will listening, but hopefully.
Yeah. What was the experience like of seeing the team up close and in person for the first time after following them all this time?
First time is kind of, I cannot believe it's real, and everyone just coming out of the entrance in the Toronto airport, I think. And like Toronto, they just have a huge fan base of Benfica, and I think the people Benfica going to the airport that day, they are just like the fans in Lisbon.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere is absolutely awesome. So
Yeah. Were you at the airport that
yeah,
day? Oh, you were.
that's
So
actually the start for me to get to meet the whole team and meet the club, meet all the
Yeah, I
fans.
think we saw. That's the first time I heard of her. Was at the. I
yeah.
saw something on TV. Her at the
Yeah,
Toronto airport, something like that. I think that's the first time I heard about you.
yeah.
Yeah. So right then and there, you're creating bonds with other fans, people that otherwise probably wouldn't come up to you and talk to you. But since you guys were all there at the airport waiting for the team and saw the team arrive, right there, you're creating bonds with people, which is always great.
Jaforst was there going nuts.
Yes, Jafurst was there with his
Yeah.
eat, sleep, repeat shirt.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the first time I actually met him. Also, like a lot of people from Casa de Benfica in Toronto,
Yeah.
they just treat me like family. I think they invite me to their like the Benfica house in Toronto, and they invite me for like her dinner and even give me like her Benfica jersey or something.
Oh wow.
And they're still like I still are like keep contact with some of them, and I think one of them actually helped me with my trip here for the game, the derby, because she actually introduced her friends in Lisbon, and they basically took care of me during that night.
Oh, awesome. You'll find that Portuguese people are very hospitable by nature.
Benfiquistas, pá.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, let's just stay with Benfica stuff.
Your trip to Lisbon, which is your most recent trip, where you got to spend two 2 weeks in Portugal. How is okay? One thing is planning a trip in the U.S. where you speak all the language, where the money's the same. What about planning a trip? I know that you probably had some help, as you mentioned, from the connections that you made in Toronto. But how is planning a trip into a total foreign country?
Not understanding the language, everything's different.
Yeah, I was a little scared at first. Actually, I did have some problem at first, not because of this kind of things. Actually, it's because of my personal status in US. Because as Chinese citizens, you basically need to get a visa when you go to everywhere, like every country.
Mhm.
So for me, if I want to get a visa to Portugal, I will first need to stamp my working visa in US, because I was like previously a student under a student visa.
Mhm.
So I kind of don't know how to do it, because one option is going back to China, and that's the safe option. But that basically 2 weeks and I will have to use up all my holidays, and that's not very feasible. So I eventually took some risk and I went to Vancouver to stamp my visa, and it's already in February, like late January and February.
Right.
My original plan is going to Lisbon like in December, but because of this reason and also some like working related stuff, I delayed it like twice. Like I booked the tickets, the home game against Atletico Madrid, and also the tickets against Porto, the tickets against Zenit. Didn't make it at all. So my friend Neil, he basically went to like 3 games for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. So you didn't really pick the Sporting Union Madeira on purpose. It's just the way it worked out because of the logistics of the whole plan of the trip.
It's I just after missing the Porto game, I just want to make it as soon as possible. So, and at first I thought it would be great because like the game against Runyunz is like Benfica's birthday, and then I think like in this case also like the derby is in the same city, why not go as well? So basically I extend my trip to 2 weeks.
Emma, again, when you had a chance to get to Portugal, to Lisbon, did you get to go to take a museum tour? Did you go take a tour of the museum, the Stade de Luz? Tell us about that if you did so.
Yeah, I did both. Like the stadium tour takes like half an hour. The museum it's just absolutely a stunning museum. And
You weren't crying, were you? Because Alfredo was crying right next to me. I had tears coming out, and then which therefore I started crying.
Yeah, the movies they showing there is absolutely very touching. There's no language in the movies, but basically people can get everything without knowing Portuguese or something.
You're talking about that scene in the elevator, correct? Where that brings you up and down. Did you get to go in that? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, there was one elevator. Also, there's another one. It's like around 20 minutes museum on the third floor. Basically, at the end of the tour, I think.
That might have been where I pulled my calf muscle.
That might have been the part where you skipped.
I scored a penalty and I skipped that part. Oh, I know.
Close to that part.
Yeah, I know what part she's talking about. The one where we sat down with the big movie screen.
Oh yeah.
I had forgotten about that. Yeah,
exactly, that was another one.
Yes.
Yeah, over there you were already messed up.
I was already messed up. I was ready.
So Emma, how did the idea to go to the Seychelles, how did that come about? Did you really plan to go on to the Seychelles, maybe catch a B team game?
I did plan to go to Seychelles. Actually, I booked the place to stay at Seychelles during my first week, so everything's planned. It's because, like probably I mentioned before, one of my main goals for this trip is to say happy birthday to a certain number 10, and giving him a birthday gift, something like that.
So that was the whole plan.
Well, here's something I want to throw in. Before we came on here, we were talking to you, Emma. I said I had a question for you, right? And I'm glad you brought up this certain number 10. And I said I was going to ask you. And I said I'll just wait. Until we start the questioning. So here we are, and I'll go ahead. What are you going to do when Nico leaves?
She's going to follow him.
Good question.
I mean, you mentioned that you go to Argentina games and you go to Benfica games. And I'm assuming mostly it's because of this one number 10 guy. So if and when he does leave Benfica, I mean, are you still going to be a Benfica fanatic, and two, you're going to be like a fanatic of whatever team he goes to, or just going to be a Nico fan? How does this work?
I think I actually last summer when all the rumors coming out, I have put a lot of thoughts on these questions, and my answer would be I will follow both sides, but probably still more on the Benfica side because,
Well, let me ask you this, right? Since you're originally an AC Milan fan,
that's my squadra too.
What if Nico moves to Inter? Then what?
Stop with that.
This is actually like Milan. The rivalry in Milan City is not like in Lisbon. Like a lot of players. That's true.
You got a lot of players that go back and forth. Benfica and Sporting is a handful of guys. Inter and Milan, they do this all the time.
So it's what, more Juve and AC Milan, the rivalry?
No, even them.
Probably
they loan players to each other.
Even the interest,
Yeah.
like more this kind of relation, but like the
Mhm.
players, the club themselves, they can do this kind of like transfer, not like here in Portugal. Like
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So at the
we
Seychelles,
cannot.
at the Seychelles, making your dream come true of meeting Nico and gifting him the present you had made for him. Besides Nico, who was any other player that made an impression on you?
You mean currently, or the player I talked about in Seychelles?
Yeah.
I think a lot of everyone's been very nice to the fans, even they see like her foreign face or something. Some of them are a little bit surprised, but they're just being very nice to me. And unfortunately, I cannot speak to everyone. Like the first day, like one of my friend, she comes all the way down from Lisbon, and because she speaks Portuguese, she helped with translation. And the second day is just me alone, so I cannot barely talk to anyone. One player specifically I'm like pretty much impressed is Julius Caesar.
Really?
He speaks great English.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, he
And
played
I
in
did,
Toronto QPR for a while, so
yeah,
not a
yeah,
while, but
but
a little while.
it's still like very impressive. And like I can figure he's those kind of player who can take the leadership or something. It's not I'm asking he question, and it's he's asking me questions about
Yeah.
where are you from, how long are you going to stay here, like what are you doing here, and are you here like all for Benfica and this kind of things. And his English, like the way he speaks to me, makes me feel like he is sort of like a big brother or something. It's
Wow.
really very special.
Nah, he's cool. He's cool. I heard nothing but great
That's
things about that
great.
guy.
He's got probably great charisma, probably. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Did you
yeah, go ahead.
continue? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Another thing I probably thought about is Nuno Santos. It's like the first day I met him, like I started to speak in English to him, and of course my friend is just besides me, and the first action he basically is responding in Portuguese. Oh, we cannot speak English. Let's speak Portuguese.
Who was it?
So,
Nun
Noon
Sanchez,
Suns,
did
yeah.
you say?
Noon Suns.
so, yeah, he got injured and still in recovery, I think.
Ah.
Probably he was out for 6 months. Yeah, I wish him like a speed recovery, and he's kind of very surprised, but kind of happy about it. And the second day, I spoke to him, or literally spoke to him a little bit, and basically he is still very nice and signed a jersey for me or something. And when I try to say goodbye to him, he asked again, like, can't you really like speak Portuguese or something? I'm just like, I'm sorry, I cannot.
Emma,
The interaction is really interesting.
any plans to learn Portuguese?
Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, like Cristiano mentioned to me earlier before. Yeah, probably I will think about it.
Emma,
It's
did the club organize anything for you? I mean, due to the fact you're on record, I mean, you've been on TV plenty of times. Your appearances have been pretty much publicized multiple times. Did they organize anything for you? I mean, did they give you any type of
She's a socia.
VIP treatment? I know, but that's what I mean, considering that she's been in the papers on TV, you'd figure that she's making her, away from the West Coast out there. You figure the club would organize a little something. Anything at all? Nothing?
Not this time. I think not
Not even a
last time.
Bifana?
Nothing at all. It's just I mean, I'm just like a fan, nothing special, just like all the
you're
other
not. Don't
fans.
say that.
The only
A,
thing
fa- a,
is
fa- a, f-
probably
a fan that travels thousands and thousands of miles to watch the team. That's a
Multiple
special
times.
fan.
Not just once, multiple times.
I think I'm fortunate that at my age and I'm still have this kind of freedom to do something kind of special or something. So I just did it. It's just like I think it's just probably I'm not Portuguese. That's something special. But besides that, I met so many like Benfica that they're like as passionate or even more passionate than me. Something like that. I think, of course, you guys are also a part of them. Otherwise, like the podcast has been a while for at least 3 or 4 years, and
Wow.
that's huge efforts, huge like commitment, and this is something I'm
Wow.
really appreciate and hopefully could follow or something.
Wow, thank you.
You listen to the Benfica podcast. Cristiano Oliveira, Alfredo Famasas. We're having a great conversation with our one of the best fans, Benfica fans anywhere. Emma, I can't say your last name, so I apologize. But we're pretty much grilling her on her trip to Portugal and what it's like to become a Benfica fan from as far out there as China. So, Emma, tell us about your experience at the Alvalade, man. How'd it go? Tell us about the whole trip. I know you walked with the
Derby.
clocks, with Benfica's clock
Yeah.
to Alvalade. And, tell us all about that whole experience.
It's nothing but amazing. It's like all the Benfica fans gather at the Estadio da Luz, and basically the whole marching, I think it took 2 or 3 hours, although it's just 3 kilometers away, probably. But probably it's because of the security reasons. Like all the police are just escorting us, and I don't think we actually get any chance to encounter any sporting fans. It's just being very separate all the way from our from Estadio da Luz to their stadium. Is all the fans are just always saying songs, and there are fans on the way basically welcoming us like we are heroes or something. There was one particular sporting fan who's also like basically waving a sporting scarf, and all of a sudden all the Benfica fans starting to sing different songs. Basically, I know it's something not good, but basically it's mocking or putting the other team, which is also like a part of.
Yeah, not a lot of us have had the experience, especially us that live here in the United States and are away from Portugal, have had the experience to experience a derby live. How was that experience for you, especially in a stadium in an away stadium where you really in a group of fans, an isolated group of fans of 2,000 to 2,500 or so? How was that experience watching Benfica at their rival stadium during a derby?
I think this is like I feel more about the passion of Benfica fans during that match, because all people around me are those ultra Benfica fans. And people all the fans basically they standing during the 90 minutes. No one sits, and they are always basically supporting the team. The song, as always, never stops. And from my side, I don't even feel it's an away stadium, because I think our sound is even louder than the home team. Probably it's because where I am, or it's just as I'm always telling my Chinese friend, like Benfica fans, that's what they are capable of, even it's an away game. I remember the game against Atletico de Madrid. Like when you're watching it at home, you can even hear the sound of Benfica at the stadium, and that's always the case.
Yeah. Did you learn any songs while you were there?
I didn't try it. I later searched a little bit on YouTube, and one thing I want to bring up is I have another Chinese friend who's like a huge fan of Nuno Gomez, and she traveled with her family earlier to Portugal, Lisbon this year to watch the game against Zenit.
Wow.
I think I shared some photos of her daughter earlier during that game.
Yeah.
And recently she told me that her daughter cannot stop singing one of the songs she learned during that games. And she asked
awesome.
me to search the lyrics for it, and she wants to teach her daughter how to sing it in a correct way.
That's awesome.
And that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I have a lot of Benfica memorabilia. For you, what is your biggest prized possession of Benfica? What is to you the piece de résistance, the most important piece, the most sentimental value piece for you?
Sentimental, you mean during or the?
Well, let's say the one piece of memorabilia, like a memento that you have from the team, whether it's a jersey, whether it's something else. What is to you if you had to throw everything of Benfica
It's
away
a Nico jersey
that you
it's not
have,
related to Nico.
and you only had to keep one, what would be the one thing that you would keep?
All right, Cristiano is right. It's because like the story I probably share a little bit, like the day I met Nico and giving him the gift, like he's been very nice, and I didn't expect at all that he asked me to came back the second day and he wanted to offer me a jersey.
Oh, awesome. So he
yeah.
did offer you a jersey.
He did. That's why I came to the training campus again the second day,
Right.
and of course met other players, which is also very important for me. And I had some little conversation with Nico during the first day, thanks to my friend for the translations. And I remember that last September when I was going for the Argentina national game, and I also brought all the Benfica stuff. So everyone in Houston, I live in the same hotel as the national Argentina national team.
Oh, did you see him there? Did he see you there?
Yeah, he did. It's like
Awesome.
the security is crazy because
Yeah.
Messi is there. So it's not like Benfica come to us. That basically you can easily access to them if
Yeah.
you guys are in the same hotel. Because I also met them in the hotel in East Hartford.
Right.
But like Argentina national team, basically, even though you stay,
It's because of Messi. It's
Yeah.
because of Messi. They go absolutely.
And it's a country
nuts.
too. It's a
Messi
representative
thing.
of a
They don't want
country.
no one near
Yeah.
Messi.
So the only thing I can do is I hold a scarf of Benfica, and I also have a poster I made. Basically, it's Nico, of course, in Benfica jersey, and I wrote in Portuguese like, "Thank you for stay at Benfica," because at that time it's just the start of the season, and after all that crazy summer, he stayed anyway. Probably he decided to stay because
of you, of course, because he saw your scarf.
no, it's before that because I think he also got some big offer from the team Lima Goes. Well, yeah,
China.
China.
not China. It's the
Oh no, I'm sorry. Ali.
Oh,
Ali.
yeah.
yeah.
We're confusing it with somebody else.
So
Yeah.
is it safe to assume that out of all the jerseys, out of all the gear you have with Nico's name on it, that the one that he handed you, that's your favorite piece of clothing?
Yeah, that's right. And he said he remembered he saw me at in Houston, because at that time
Awesome.
I'm sure he did see me because he gave me a sum up, basically something like. Probably it's also special for him because I think he would also assume everyone's there for Messi because it's actually true.
Yeah, of
I
course.
saw people wearing like jerseys, of course, Barcelona, Argentina national team. Some of them were like Man City's jerseys, probably also River and Bocas, but probably it's a little bit special because probably no one know who he is except for me at that time.
Yeah.
So when he said he remembered, that's probably the moment I feel what I did is kind of it's a little reward for me or something.
Yeah. Getting away a little bit from Benfica, obviously, because you're Chinese, we can't help but to bring up this topic. There's been recently an influx of players and going to China.
That's why I made that mistake, right?
Yeah. What's your take on all these players going to China? Obviously, it's obviously good for the sport in China,
for the fans.
And where does all the money come from?
I talked this to Paget a little bit earlier. I personally don't like all the things going on during the last winter because the money is basically it's not every club in China has money. It's just some of the club has money, and it's just because they're sponsored by those giant company in their industry, like Jiangsu, I think is a company close to Amazon. And Guangzhou, it's called Evergrande. It's a club like in the real estate industry. And if I remember correctly, they're also sponsoring at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Emma, you planning any more trips? I mean, what's the next trip up on the agenda?
Currently no more trips because
it's gotta be Marquez, right? Marquez in a couple months, right?
I took a photo at when I was in Lisbon. I did pay a visit there, and I took a photo. And probably I can do some edits in May or something. But yeah,
That's
I've
cheating. That's
already
cheating.
Yeah.
used
Well,
up all my holidays for all the trips for Benfica,
yeah,
probably.
yeah. You were. That's definitely a trip of a lifetime for anyone to celebrate the title at the Marquês.
Are you
But
guys plan to go?
uh,
Do you guys plan to
we
go?
wish, but
We
I
want to go
don't.
next week. We
We
want to
don't
go
know.
now for the Champions League against Bayern Munich, but we'll
We
see what
don't.
happens.
We don't know. But Emma, just one last question related to China, and I know that Benfica opened up one or two academies in China. What is the whole feeling about the academy in China? Do you think it's beneficial for both Benfica and a lot of the Chinese youth to be taught and training with a lot of the pros that Benfica has put in place at these academies?
I think, of course, the first time I heard about it, I feel very proud and very glad to see the connection between Benfica and China. And also, I don't think it's pure for commercial reasons, because to be honest, the fan base in Benfica in China is not like as those big clubs. I know some of the Benfica fans in China, but it's absolutely like only a small group of people. But I think this will definitely getting more and more people knowing about Benfica. I know the youth campus in Hangzhou, and currently they are doing a good job. Like a lot of primary school football team and middle school football team, when they are having the matches, they all wear like Benfica jerseys, and it looks like they are doing a lot of great work in terms of bringing football to their school, and hopefully this is a good start both for Chinese football and also for like more and more people knowing Benfica in China.
Awesome. Awesome. We're gonna take a short break here for Nelson's halftime headlines. We'll be back, wrapped up the show with a few more questions for Emma, hopefully. So I'll see you in a bit.
Between the two clubs, with Real Madrid seemingly interested.
Let's
Technical difficulties.
let's restart that.
And now, the halftime headlines.
And this week we kick off by looking at the Uruguayan youth Ricardo Bentancur. The Boca Juniors midfielder has been linked several times with Benfica, but things are heating up between the two clubs. With Real Madrid seemingly interested, Benfica might be in a fight to sign him, as the Portuguese super agent Jorge Mendes is allegedly ready to sign him as well. Nas Internacionalidades, Portugal's U19 team defeated Slovenia 3-1. The Olympic team defeated Mexico 4-0. And unfortunately, by starting three Lagartinhos in the midfield, the senior squad didn't do as well. They lost to Bulgaria 1-0. Número 33, Jardel Vieira, turns 30 this week, as Rui Costa turns 44 as well. And finally, just a few days after Benfica gets its own private plane by main sponsor Fly Emirates, Bruno Carvalho files a campaign on Facebook claiming that it is just a complete injustice on how Benfica can get a jet, and Sporting didn't even have a shirt sponsor until early December.
And that's all for this week.
Ay, Nelson, partes por todo lado.
Nelson, you cracked me up, dude. That Nas Internacionalidades. I love that. That was excellent. That was good. Yeah, after we should mention, today is Rui Costa's birthday and Jardel's birthday. So it's a good day for you to be on the podcast, Emma.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a very nice coincidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Emma, what are your hopes for this tie up against Bayern? Do you think Benfica has any hope, any chance?
I didn't think too much about the result. I think the most important thing is every player won't get injured during the two games, and I think it's a good opportunity for our young players, especially those who promoted to the A team this year, to get a real chance to face those giant teams.
Yeah. What about hopes for what's left in Benfica's campaign to get to the title? Are you confident that we could see this one out?
I think I'm confident, and so as most of the Benfica fans. Like, this has been like a kind of dramatic season for us, like being behind for like 7 points and make it up. Now it's like we're leading, and as long as like I think as long as like players and the fans can just keep the things doing what they're supposed to do, we have a really good chance to win the third championship.
Good. And for those of you expecting us to talk about the national team, we are not going to talk about the national team. How's that? Even though Cristiano's got his outfit on.
Ganharam hoje, pá. Ganharam
Yeah,
hoje.
should start, man. Yeah, I'll get to it. I'm sure I'll get to it when the Euro comes around. We'll get a little bit more talk about the national team.
I mean, look, we could talk about the national team real quick. Renato played 45 minutes. Eliseu didn't play, so they should both be nice and fresh come Friday.
Yeah, apparently Lindelof picked up a knock.
See, I wasn't aware.
65 minutes.
He got substituted in the 65 minutes. He says that it's nothing too big, that he just came out so that there was no chance he could.
Sorry, Lisandro's back. Jardel will be back. Be all right in case he is hurt.
And Nico Gaetan has also been working extra, and it looks like he will be ready this upcoming Friday for Braga. So we're hoping to have the squad at the most healthiest that it's been in the past couple of weeks, with obviously Lisandro coming back and Nico coming back.
Is it safe to say that if you had to win one game of the next two, you'd pick Friday against Braga? That's the one game you'd call a must-win?
I think against Braga is definitely a must-win, because this is the game that our opponents are hoping to
that we slip up.
And it's a game at home. Vitoria's got a record going on as far as straight victories. So we're hoping that he could continue.
11 consecutive on the road. He's going for 12.
Yeah. But anyway, let's wrap this up. Emma, it's been a true pleasure having you on, sharing your experiences and your stories from your trips. It's been really great. We appreciate you being such a great fan of ours, obviously saying hello in Toronto, and I think in New Jersey we also saw Emma, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
You did. So really appreciative of you coming on. I know you were a little bit nervous. I hope that you're not as nervous anymore, and maybe we could get together and do this another time.
It's a wonderful experience. I have to say, like, thanks so much for having me on the podcast. And anytime, of course, like, I'm not very good at speaking, but as I would take it like as a challenge, as long as it's for Benfica. I think I can do almost everything.
You did just fine, and the pleasure was all ours. We appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll have you on in the near future. As far as the rest of the show, I mean, we're going to take questions. I mean, because there were people, before we let her go, though, hold up, because there were some people that had questions for, you guys are hard of hearing or hard of reading, whichever one you want to
I have to go.
Call yourselves. You have to go.
I have to go.
Okay, we got to go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take your questions at a whole nother time.
There was some questions about the national team. I don't want to talk about the national team.
Okay.
Emma, one last thing before we go, and I'm actually gonna take this clip out of what you're gonna say. If you don't mind, if you could be so kind as to say, my name is Emma,
and Cristiano's the best,
and you're listening to the Benfica podcast, but in your native tongue.
Let me see. In Chinese?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. I think I know how to say it.
Voilà.
Let's just start it.
Go ahead.
大家好，我的名字是张润云，英语名字是 Emma。你们正在收听的是本菲卡的广播。本菲卡是世界上最大的俱乐部之一，大家一定要多多支持本菲卡，本菲卡加油！
Oui.
Wow, that was awesome. I know you just did.
I
You
agree.
just say that this is Em and you're listening to Benfica podcast? Well, you said so. I think you said something else.
This is Emma. You are listening to Benfica podcast. Benfica is one of the biggest club. Actually, I said Benfica is the biggest club in the world. Everyone should support Benfica and Benfica for Benfica, something like that.
Very, very, very awesome. Thanks again, Emma. It was a pleasure, really, to have you on to share your stories. For all of you that do not follow Emma on Twitter, you should. And this is obviously an advisement from us. But Emma, just give us your Twitter so people know where they can follow you.
Oh, it's my Chinese name, Runyunz, Runyun, and Z as a zebra, and that's pretty much about it.
So at Runyunz.
Emma, you got to shorten that. I tell everyone that comes on a podcast, you got to shorten your name. Nice and simple, like something real simple that we could all, get off the roll of, off our tongues.
Yeah.
Because that's too complicated, Emma.
And
my current ID, it's already.
It's pretty short.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Oh, okay.
And also, if you want to follow Emma on Facebook and read her a two-part story about her visit to Lisbon and sharing her experiences at Estádio Luz and the game with Sporting and the Madeira, as well as the B team game that Emma got to witness and meeting some of the players and some of the pictures that she took. I highly advise to become Emma's friend on Facebook and go check that out. Is it just punch up Emma Runyunz on Facebook and find you? How do they find you on Facebook, Emma?
I got like a bunch of requests the second day after they put me on the newspaper. So basically, I guess they search my name and it's pretty easy to find me. And I will basically approve every request as long as I can verify it's a Benfica.
There you go. I don't blame you. You don't want any of those green and blue guys in your profile.
There are some like I just ignore. But it's because I cannot make sure. I just cannot know why they are actually want to add me. So.
You're right. You're absolutely right. There's no need. There's no need. Anyway, you've been listening to the Benfica podcast. Cristiano, Alfredo, at Tencio10, at Benfica podcast, at Talking to the Doll. Emma was with us tonight. Next week, we will be back. We will look at the Braga game. We'll also look at Benfica's Champions League game against Bayern. And we'll have all your Benfica talk. Next week, we'll be back.
Steve will make an appearance.
Yeah,
Come off of daddy duty. I mean, it's about time, Steve. It's been like 6 months.
I doubt
the kid's walking around already. He's got a mustache. You know what I mean? Get off of daddy duty.
Emma, thanks again. And I'll talk to you again. I'll talk to everyone again next week.
Peace.
Thanks so much. It's absolutely a very great pleasure for me to get to know all of you and all the Benfica fans on Twitter, on Facebook, and everyone I met. It's just being like very kind and very awesome fans I already know. Yeah, it's just a great pleasure for me.
The pleasure is all ours, Emma. Thank you very much.
Grazie.
See ya.
See you.